Hello, users, and welcome to another episode of Above It All. And I'm just going to go ahead and play this a little bit.
And finally, new rule, just because Fox...
Get the dildos off of my screen. Anyway, Bill Maher is at it again. He apparently said some really stupid shit in this video. And I'm going to go ahead and do something that might trigger people. I'm going to dislike the video before watching it. You know, maybe I'll like the video. Maybe I'll change my mind, but we'll see. But apparently, like, I've read a transcript of what he said, and it's really stupid. And so I just figure I'll just go directly to the source and just do a play and response video. So Bill Maher is someone I used to kind of like during my edgy atheist phase, you know, during the early 2010s, you know. I was getting into my main gateway to politics was the atheist movement, if you will, the new atheist movement that Bill Maher was somewhat tangentially attached to. And so I kind of liked him. I never really watched all of his shows, you know, it wasn't like I was a super fan, but I was like, oh, that's some guy that I can respect. And then over the course of like the 2016 presidential primary, he started saying really stupid shit. And it was like, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't really care. And then during the 2020 primary, he's been saying the stupidest fucking garbage I've ever heard. And so, you know, here we go. You know, let's see how it goes.
News is obsessed with the Biden sex assault allegations. It doesn't mean the rest of us have to be. You may have noticed that Donald Trump has one move: accuse you of the very thing he's guilty of. Puppet, no puppet, you're the puppet. Remember that one? Okay, well, now it's Joe Biden grabs women by the pussy. Not that he even needs to say it. The liberal media and liberal party is doing it for him. Exactly what Republicans want, for us to go down the rabbit hole of Joe Biden sex monster. So now everybody's investigating, but there is no fact-finding here. It's a he said, she said something else entirely. Yes, Biden's accuser, Tara Reade, has been contradicted by multiple people. Most importantly, Tara Reade. This last year, she said of Biden, I wasn't scared of him, that he was going to take me in a room or anything. It wasn't that kind of vibe. She suggested she had filed a sex harassment report. Now she says she didn't. She says she was fired by Biden's office, but in deleted posts, she said she left because, quote, I love Russia with all my heart. President Putin scares the power elite in America because he is a compassionate, caring, visionary leader.
Okay, I have to pause here. So, this is the thing, okay? I've been through this. Now, I've said this before on my channel, but I feel the need to reiterate because, you know, especially when making videos about hot button things, people come in here and they've never seen one of my videos before. But I've been sexually assaulted. Someone tried to rape me, and I managed to, you know, get away from them. And that involved a very traumatic series of events that I try not to think about. So, and this happened two years ago now. So, even now, you know, I don't remember everything that night that happened. You know, even 36 hours after it happened, I don't remember anything that night. I didn't remember, like, you know, it's just one of those things where when something really traumatic happens, your brain tries its best to forget the memory. And because of our society, everyone loves to, like, ask you what happened, how did it happen. You know, after this happened, I had a bunch of people tell me that I, you know, was wrong. I had a bunch of people tell me that, you know, basically, in a roundabout way, let me summarize. Someone tried to rape me, and then on social media claimed that the roles were reversed. Now, I, you know, eventually was vindicated, but, you know, for about 48 hours there, I had to defend people calling me a rapist because the person who tried to rape me was, you know, had the idea to get ahead of it all and basically say on social media that this person attacked me and they're evil, you know, in a roundabout way to, you know, because I guess they failed to harm me in any, you know, lasting way besides, of course, up here, that they would try to do so after I had escaped. And I'm not going to go too much more into the details there, but, you know, I understand exactly what Tara Reade goes through, and I understood exactly what Christine Ford went through during the Kavanaugh thing, and those are the last two big moments. And I guess you could say the Al Franken one was also relatively big, but that one was handled really quickly. And so it didn't have time to fester like this. But the thing is, like, when you start to go through people's pasts, like this is the thing that happens, like, that Republicans do whenever an unarmed black man is shot by police. They'll say, like, oh, he had weed in his apartment. Like, last I checked, having weed in your apartment, it was not the death penalty. Maybe you live in a different timeline, in a different universe, but last I checked, you don't get the death penalty for having weed in your apartment. Let alone the fact that weed shouldn't even be more, like, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, so it's like, you shouldn't even get any criminal punishment. In fact, honestly, if you have weed in your apartment, invite me over, let's have a party. You know what I mean? You should get praise, not punishment. But, so that's one of the things that people like Bill Maher are doing, is they comb through this person's past and try to find out any little tidbits, and especially after it's been 27 years. Like, I can imagine myself in, I don't know, 10 years from now, maybe watching this video and, saying like, oh, well, maybe I didn't explain the details completely correctly. And if someone wants to use this video to try to gotcha me, if I ever say something about my personal sexual assault story, they could, and, maybe the story does slightly change every now and then. But there's also, again, there's details I'm not going to say because I don't remember them fully and I don't want to try to remember them fully. And also there's no point in even going about it. There's no point in that. And so, like, again, like, you can change your story all the time, and that's the thing, is that it's her story. It's her experience. Joe Biden probably doesn't even remember it. Like, when he says, I don't know who Tara Reade is, he's probably telling the truth. He's got obvious signs of mental decline, so it's probable that he just doesn't remember this person. Also, Joe Biden, again, I hesitate to feel the need to reiterate this, he's on tape fondling an 8-year-old child's breasts, on tape, on C-SPAN. He was in the Senate or like the House, I forget exactly where those ceremonies were, just literally just like rubbing up an 8-year-old, and it's like, that's all the proof I need that this is something that Joe Biden would do. That's all the proof I need. And again, this whole Russia thing, it's just offensive. It's garbage. And again, I'm putting this on 1.5 speed just to get through it because honestly, I just need to get through this. But yeah, I mean, so far, again, like just picking through and combing through, like, oh, she contradicted herself. It's like, okay, and? Like, clearly you've never been in this situation before. Clearly you've never had any traumatic incident ever occur in your life ever. If that's something you say, you've never had even a bad day. Honestly, like, if you want to claim you've got perfect memory, go for it, bud. But I know I don't have perfect memory. Nobody does. And that's why, like, writing things down in real time or filing police reports in real time is so important. But especially in the 1990s, that was way less feasible to do. Like, I know, and I can tell you this from my experience, when I was talking to the police after my sexual assault incident, they laughed at me. They called me a tranny freak. Not in those words, but they said that because I was trans, that I probably deserved it, and I was probably asking for it, and they wouldn't really advance any, like, they filed a report, and that was it. They wouldn't do anything. So, oops, right? Like, why would I go to the police when that's my last time going to the police? Why would I ever do that again? Why would I do that? There's no reason to. All cops are bastards. They're garbage, especially in the 1990s. Like, that's the thing is, this happened to me in 2018, during the whole, like, oh, society is woke, right? The 1990s, like, would have been way worse. Like, and that's the thing is, like, these people that, like, like, in Bill Maher's doing that thing where it's like, oh, I understand why she didn't, like, trying to, like, pretend like he's like, oh, I get you morally, but I'm still going to assassinate your character while doing that. It's just gaslighting garbage. Like, this is just straight up trash. But let's continue.
His obvious reverence for women, children, and animals, and his ability with sports is intoxicating to American women. What? What the fuck? We're letting this person change the subject from Donald Trump, lethal incompetence?
Like, again, like, one person says one thing, and that automatically means that they shouldn't be allowed to have their story told? Like, what? Like, I've written all kinds of dumb blog posts, right? And, like, and again, what is the relevance? Her opinion on the leader of Russia has no relevance. There's nothing. It is literally a waste of your time. And the fact that Bill Maher is even going after this, it's a religion. I'm going to say this outright. And for someone who made his upbringing on being an atheist, the fact that he's falling for the Kool-Aid of Russia is the worst thing ever. It's literally a religion. It's based on no facts, No facts, right? Literally nothing. I guess maybe you can base it on the Mueller report and like the semi-election interference, but it's like, it's literally, it's a religion. It's a conspiracy theory religion. And the fact that this isn't a conversation about rape is just, it's ungodly amounts of offense here. And it's not like edgy humor. It's not like, I'm being funny, I'm a comedian. It's just it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's frankly grotesque. Anybody, and I mean anybody, who tries to smear Tara Reade by saying that she wrote a blog post praising Putin, you are a psychopath. You are a terrible person. And if I were ruler of the world, I would demand that you have mandatory therapy every 6 hours for at least the remainder of the year, because there is something, cognitively speaking, there is a disconnect. If you see starving children in the United States and think, well, Trump's bad, I guess, right? And you see a rape survivor, like, try to tell her story about being abused, and then comb through her personal history, and then go like, Putin, you are a psychopath. You are a terrible person. And there's nothing anybody can ever say to you that will change that fact. Now, here's the thing. We have agency. Like, you can be a terrible person and then not be a terrible person. You can say terrible things and then say to yourself, whoa, I was out of line. I should stop doing that. And then, after that, you can stop doing that. So being a terrible person is a choice. You can choose not to be a terrible person. And that's the thing here that is so important, is that, like, you can just choose not to go after her for posting about Putin fucking whatever amount of years ago. Like, that is a choice. There is nothing compelling you to do that. And the fact that that's the thing that people do is, again, it's just disgusting.
To Joe Biden's sex monster? She literally wrote a love letter to the murderer trying to keep Biden from the White House. Yet the New York Times, Putin's reverend, this accusation must be thoroughly vetted for the party to keep its credibility. Well, you know, credibility certainly is a problem for the party on this issue, mostly because they woke themselves into a corner when they adopted "Believe Women" as their slogan, when it should always have been "Take accusations seriously." Kirsten Gillibrand said of the Al Franken allegations, "The women who came forward felt it was sexual harassment, so it was." That was never tenable. Because believing everything doesn't make you noble, it makes you gullible. And leaves us with a world where...
And this is the problem, is that may be true. And that's what I really hate about these reactionary positions, is they take a grain of truth. Like, again, Russia was able to hack into voter machines. Does that mean they shifted the election? Maybe, you know? So they take that grain of truth, and then they create these wild, tangentially related conspiracies related to them. So, like, yes, that may be true. That, you know, saying "Believe Women" wasn't the most nuanced and, well, like, memeable take, you know? Like, it wasn't a great slogan. And maybe it felt good for women, you know? I like the whole "Believe Women" thing, but obviously also women will lie about things, and that's factual. And that's why you need to investigate these allegations, which, of course, almost all of the corroborating evidence for this supports what she's saying, and that's what they just try to dance around. That's why they bring up the Putin stuff. They want to ignore the Larry King tape. They want to ignore the fact that her neighbor corroborated her. They want to ignore all that stuff. They want to ignore the fact that the Senate said that they're not going to open up the archives so that we can potentially look through that stuff. They want to ignore the fact, you know, like her lawyer, I didn't cover this because, you know, I just wasn't up to it at the time, but her lawyer apparently donated to Trump's campaign or a Trump person, and that automatically means that he's evil. And they just want to selectively ignore the fact that that same lawyer defended Harvey Weinstein victims. That same lawyer was like someone who donated to Democratic leaders. You know what I mean? Like, it's selective history here. Like, if the only thing, like, if she was like a sleeper cell, you know, like, I feel like she would have a lot more evidence other than like, yeah, Putin's kind of hot, bro. Like, on her blog. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. Like, the selective editing of history and trying to, like, present things as if it's in a vacuum is just, it's weird. It's strange.
Don't care about this stuff, so it's just a unilateral weapon that is used only against Democrats. Trump rides the bus with Billy Bush. We throw Al Franken under it. You know, Democrats are the party of choice. We can choose not to completely fuck ourselves over this. I know It's a sex scandal, and in normal times, that's what we do instead of issues. But there are actually some pretty big problems going on right now. I don't know if you noticed. But
one thing that calling it a sex scandal is, again, it's not a sex scandal. Like, a sex scandal is like, oh shit, man, like, we caught you fucking in the broom closet, bro. Like, that's a sex scandal. A sex scandal is not a fucking sitting senator and presidential candidate raping someone and then, like, saying you will be nothing after they try to, like, you know, not go through with it. That's not a sex scandal. That's called rape. Like, those are different things. Like, a sex scandal is, like, steamy, like, potentially romantic. You know, that's a sex scandal. This is not a sex scandal, okay? There is a very clear difference between rape and being caught in the broom closet giving a blowjob. Those are different things, okay? I'm sorry?
America has turned into a failed state that does a worse job keeping its citizens alive during a pandemic than Cambodia. And to me, that's a little more important than Tara Reade achieving closure. She says Biden...
Counterpoint, both are important.
Actor, and he says...
Also counterpoint, they aren't necessarily, like... The whole idea here is that, like, Joe Biden is the last stand against Donald Trump because of our arbitrary rules that we want to uphold, even though they make no sense and they are not even remotely beneficial to 99% of society. I have an idea. Like, Joe Biden is a terrible candidate. We already know this. But how about you get rid of him because of this, and then you bring in a candidate like Bernie Sanders who wants to solve the problems that you purport to care about? Like, oh, we're not caring for our citizens and we're doing worse than Cambodia? Okay, how about we prop up a candidate who wants to fix that? Bernie fucking Sanders. But again, he's not doing that. He's not doing that. That's not his advocacy. You know? He's not advocating for a better world. He's hanging these things in front of you. It's like, see? Look, our people are dying. We want to stop them from dying. So don't pay attention to the sexual assault. Don't pay attention to the rape from our guy so that he can help you and then you can eat dinner. No, don't worry about Bernie Sanders wanting to make sure you have dinner for the rest of your life. We'll pay for your food tomorrow. Just don't worry about this. Everything will be okay. No, I'm sorry, Bill Maher, not everything will be okay. I'm sorry, not everyone's a millionaire like yourself. You know, I'm sorry, but we have more important things to worry about.
He didn't. Those are their positions. How about this for yours? Don't know, never will, don't care. I care in the macro about women being attacked, of course. But on this one, I'm with Bogey, who said, I'm no good at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Everybody says, we need to do everything we can to defeat Trump. Yeah, except anything.
No, okay, this is the thing, is... I'm just going to continue playing.
Well, I'm no good at being noble either, but if in 1993 Joe Biden had grabbed my nuts in a corridor, and I was in Washington that year, and I had this knowledge and revealing it could hurt the guy running against Trump, I'd save it for my memoirs. I'd like to think that I'd have a little more perspective. We have a president who says drink bleach. Geez, you waited 27 years. It couldn't hold another few months? That's what I would like to ask Ms. Reade. Why now? I'm not saying why not 27 years ago. I understand it can take victims years to come forward. I'm saying why not before Super Tuesday?
This is the problem, is she did do it before Super Tuesday, and this is the problem with these people, is they aren't looking into this. They're just reading a New York Times article that is written with some stupid, bizarre, centristy take on rape, and then they just don't understand the fact that she did go in February, in January, she did go do this. But guess what? The fund that the firm that she went to was tied to the Joe Biden campaign. The Joe Biden campaign paid the person there almost $1 million. Not Joe Biden, but the Joe Biden campaign, which is a very different thing. The Joe Biden campaign paid $1 million basically to cover the story up, and they said, okay, we'll work with you, keeping her from, like, presenting it publicly, keeping her from going to independent media, which she eventually did because she had no other options, keeping her from doing that. Oh, we'll get you a lawyer, don't worry. Hell yeah. All of a sudden Nevada happens. Oh, no, don't worry, all of a sudden South Carolina happens. Oh, no, we'll get you a lawyer. Super Tuesday happens. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't help you. Joe Biden's the presumptive nominee now. I'm sorry, we can't do that. It'll violate our charity guidelines, our 501(3)(2)(74). It will be violated if we help you and get you a lawyer. I'm sorry. But he doesn't know this because he's a cunt. And he doesn't know this by choice. He could have done basic research, but he didn't, and that's a choice. And this is one of the things that when you have a platform the size of Bill Maher's, then you should be making you shouldn't be making the choice to do lazy, easy journalism, right? Like, this isn't, like, he's not even funny, he's just saying stupid garbage, and all you have to do is just read a basic history of events that wasn't written by a fucking rape apologist, and you'd understand the timeline here, but he didn't do that. Why? Because he's a piece of garbage. He's a piece of fucking garbage.
Why not last fall when we still had a dozen other candidates to choose from? Why wait until Biden is our only hope against Trump?
And again, he's not! The convention hasn't happened yet. Half the states haven't even voted yet. Again, this is why they pushed along the pandemic primaries, because they wanted to pretend like, oh, it's already over. Oh, we've done like 53% of the votes. It's already over. And those votes are fucking illegitimate. They don't fucking matter to me. Anything after Super Tuesday, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't count. And that's the thing. It's like, we could just resume the primary. We could start it over. These are all things that are possible. There is nothing like set in stone from God himself that was like, you must do the primaries in this order, and there's no such thing as a redo. Like, that's not a thing. That's not like ingrained into the fucking laws of the earth and time and space. Like, these are all completely arbitrary rules. Joe Biden is not our last hope against Trump. Okay, that is just factually untrue. That is called gaslighting. That is called trying to present a form of reality that is untrue to you as if it is true, and then, just like, oh, I mean, hey, he's our last chance, so I guess he's perfect now? No, I'm sorry. That's not how the world works. Fucking Bill Maher. Fuck you, Bill Maher. Fuck you. Seriously, this is just garbage.
Take him down. This story is gathering an importance it should not have. There is so much at stake in this next election. The entire world needs to be put back together like Humpty Dumpty. Why should one person's victimhood trump everyone else's?
So stupid. So stupid. Again, so stupid. And this guy likes to think he's an edgy outsider. Let me parrot everything the New York Times and the DNC say. Haha, look how outsider I am. I say fuck and I smoke weed, man. Aren't I cool? That was cool in the 90s. Why isn't it cool in the 2020s, man? Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. Like, go fuck yourself, dude. Seriously. Garbage. Straight up garbage. Thank you for watching. Give me money on Patreon. And, I'll see you again in the next video. Give me money on Patreon, though. Like, that's not a request. This is compulsory. If you don't do that, then I will personally dislike you for the rest of my life, and I will write about you in my memoirs about how you betrayed me at this crucial moment. No, but seriously, I hope this video is good, and fuck Bill Maher, and fuck you as well. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna fuck you unless you pay me. Okay, bye.